to restream?
No.
And do I do anything?
You're live.
We are live. Am I to believe what our developer Marius is saying, that we are live? How can we test this? Marius, how can we test that we are live?
Yeah, 1 sec. Tick, 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 tick.
It seems like we are live.
Okay.
Does it? No. I am uncertain of this. Are we live? I don't wanna just start doing the intro if there's no kind
No
of
one's.
if there's no kind of guarantee. So let's for those of us, in case there is anybody literally watching this and we are live, we are sorry for the technical difficulties in us finding out if we are live. Apparently these are technical difficulties in and of themselves.
Zice, moj zice ceva de genul sunteți live.
We are live. Okay, cool. In that case, hello everybody, and welcome to another Interrogation developer stream. My name is Andrei, and I am currently the lead of the studio, and I will kind of be your host for tonight. Hi, nice to meet you. I have here with me Jana Zosmer. She is our lead artist. Hi, Jana.
Hello.
How you doing, Jana? How is your day going?
Just finished work and now I'm ready to tell you more about what I'm doing.
Okay, cool, awesome, nice to meet you. So, today we will talk a bit about the art of interrogation, how it came to be, how we made it, how we first of all came to the concept, and then also the process of development. Jana, were you with us the first time we did any kind of art for interrogation?
No, I came in a bit later, but we had to rethink the whole style. We already knew that we wanted to be black and white, but the characters were not yet thought of in the way they are now in the game.
But did you ever get to see the oldest of all the kind of styles of interrogation ever?
Yeah, I've seen it since the first sketches.
Okay, then you will not be surprised, but I managed to dig into our files and to find some remnants of the past. And we're gonna watch them together tonight. And I want to know what if you remember them and what are your impressions. I'm gonna play our very first trailer ever.
I think that would probably still be found in the bellows of YouTube somewhere.
Yeah. So Jana, have
Actually, I did not see this one.
okay. When was the last time you saw this style?
I think version of this, but a more detailed version about 3 years ago.
Interesting, interesting. So you've never seen this one. This is the oldest style of interrogation. It was made at a game jam. Back at that point in time, Yana was not our artist. And at the game jam, the topic was under the surface. So we thought that we don't want to take it literal, like under the surface of the water or anything like that. We want to talk about how it is and what's under the surface of the human psychic, and psyche, and what best way to make players think of this, but to actually have them think about someone's psychology and interrogate them. Yeah, what do you think of this style, Yana?
I think it's interesting. I like the new style more because it's realistic, so it kind of makes you get more attached to the characters. This one being so sketchy, you don't see their emotions and their you don't see them. You see them more as cartoon characters rather than actual human beings that may or may not have a life story and more things beneath the surface.
Yep. I agree, and that's for many reasons why after the respective game jam we switched the style. But this was what we could come up with, in 24 hours. But as you can see, there are many elements of the game that were there. First time this. Sorry?
And there's still, I think we kept the most important parts and the whole vibe of it. I think it's the same. It gives me the same vibe.
Yep, I agree. Now I'm gonna show you the very oldest actual build of interrogation I could come up with. Is this one. This is a working build of. So it's not the oldest version of interrogation. Let me just start this again because I wanted to use a different episode, but it is one of the oldest. So as you can see, it looks very different overall.
Were they animated?
No. So there was no kind of character animation whatsoever, and the UI worked very weirdly. So you had to literally press on this question mark each and every little time when you wanted to ask a question. Also, questions were not organized in any way back then. You just had a huge list with all the questions. So this is how the very first, not the very first, but the second version of interrogation looked like. And we even had this kind of a little asterisk to let you know that you've never asked that question ever before. We had no kind of text bubbles. It was all over the place.
How long did you work on this build?
So this was a very kind of intermediary stage to a certain extent. But back then we couldn't work on interrogation only outside of kind of our regular job hours. So we've been stuck with it for a while. And then in the end so after a lot of iteration we came up with this. And this is something that people may know better, or I don't know. There are people out there that have seen it. So this was the first time interrogation had kind of most of its modern components. So it had files that had pictures, and we had rotoscoped characters. And I think this is the style that you've seen, Yana, right?
Yeah. This was the style that was in the game when I started working.
Yeah. So even back then, we had many of the current elements, things like text bubbles, a comic book like style in which we rotoscoped different characters, and animations, these kind of frame by frame animations.
That we still kind of kept.
Yeah.
Also, we had a lot of like the current UI, the current UI concept of diagenic elements of UI were already there. What do you think was the biggest problem with this style, Yana?
What I learned when I started working is that it was really, really hard to keep the animations consistent throughout the whole game because it was really sketchy. It had a lot of lines that were really hard to keep track of, and made like 4 or 5 animations already. Firstly, and secondly, we decided to go for a more realistic approach.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest problem was that it was really hard to animate and it took a very, very long time to finish a single character.
Yep, it really did, and I'm gonna show you kind of our iteration process in a moment. I must say that I personally kind of liked the style in many ways because I was a great fan of Sin City, a comic book that had this kind of black and white only. So there are no grays in this style. The only pure black and pure white. So there was this kind of style in Sin City, and I kind of liked it. But
Yeah, I think it's really expressive and it looks more like a comic book than what we did later.
however, I also do think that it looks maybe a bit too much like a comic book.
I think it's like now it's more suitable for the message of game than this was, but I still think it looks really nice.
Yeah, and I think so. Honestly, the biggest reason why we decided against this style in the end was the fact that it became very tiring to look at if you looked at it for a long while, like it kind of also happened. But other than that, we had
Yeah, it's because of the lack of praise, right?
yeah. This was the very first tutorial. It was just a static slideshow, as you can see. It conveyed similar messages as the current police academy, but much less refined. And this was the first perk or memory selection screen, as you can see. Yep. So this was that. Hope you enjoyed this little snippet. And then when Yana came on, we decided to kind of change things. And the way we started it is by asking Yana to make some concept art. And I really don't like this. I wanna view with Honeyview. Yes, I'm viewing with Honeyview. Yeah. So this was concept art of Diana that Yana made for us, and this one is one of Michael, and this is one of Fred Ennis, like the very first version of Fred Ennis. Do you remember these, Yana?
Yeah, the one with Fred, that's actually my cat that's sleeping next to me right now. So
Really? Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so we did these concept arts of how would interrogation characters, especially from that first black and white only Sin City like graphics, look like in grayscale, and we really loved them. As you can see, there are small Liberation Front logos inserted. A small Liberation Front logo inserted here. Nobody can see it. Kind of hidden in plain sight. And then we started kind of seeing how can this game look like in grayscale. And these were one of the first versions. Do you remember this, Yana?
Yeah, I love this. This is one of my favorites. But oh my god, it took like 3 days just to make that pattern on her shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, we mostly chose against this, even though it looked cool, because it was unsustainable in terms of kind of production difficulty. And this was the very first Mordecai. So the first version of... No, I think there's an even older one, but this is one of the first versions of Mordecai. And this is one of the first versions of Jennifer. So we've already conceptualized those characters.
And I
And
think we actually chose the same model for this sketch and Jennifer from the game.
yeah, so if we've already kind of were thinking again of rotoscoping, so Yana used and the same actors that we would later on actually use for the real kind of Jennifer. And I wanted to also show you, so at a particular point in time I made a Pinterest board. We use this Pinterest board a lot in kind of seeing a lot of noir styles, and many of these we liked a lot, but they were too hard to pull off. Yep.
Yeah, because we have so many reactions and animations for each character, and we have like 40 characters, right? In the end.
Yep.
And it was really hard to find us.
I think there's more than 40 characters, honestly. I don't remember exactly, but I think there were more of them.
At first we wanted to have a detailed style, but then we realized it's really not so sustainable long term for so many animations and so many characters. If it was more static, that would have worked, but we needed something that we could do in a shorter amount of time, but with the same level of detail and quality.
Yep, exactly. So in the end, after much more iteration, we came up with kind of the current version of interrogation that we have even now. Actually do have a few questions for you, Yana, about how the process was. How did it? For example, what was the biggest challenge, in your opinion, in kind of being an artist for interrogation?
Well, I think at first it was really hard to keep the same style for so many characters, which later came really naturally. But like in the first episode of the game, I struggled a lot with keeping the same amount of sketch on top of the characters, for example, or same type of light.
Mm-hmm.
That was at first, but later on it was it came natural to me to make the characters. So I think this was a problem just in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And what was, I wouldn't say a struggle, but it was really interesting because I had to keep all the objects in the same kind of, not pinpointing a certain time in time and space or a place, but to be more specific to the game and the world we wanted to show.
Yep. It is certainly one of the most difficult things to retain a certain coherent style with so many game elements of different from different places. What was more fun than you have expected?
I actually didn't think it would be so fun to work with the actors, and then um, after working for, I don't know, I think it was a year or so, I saw the actors in real life, and I just couldn't believe that they were actually real people. I photographed them, but I was so immersed in the process and in the game that when I actually saw that they are real people, I just it was like a glitch.
Yeah, actually, we have prepared for you um, a small video of a timeline of how the rotoscoping process looks like actually. So
Yeah,
it,
basically at first we selected actors for each character, and we had a week of photo shoots. We photographed each character, each animation, gesture, and we also make videos in case we need more in the future, more gestures.
mm-hmm.
And then I paint with a brush on top, so it would look like painting, but still look realistic. And then add the sketch, like you can see in the video.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So as you can see, it's a pretty laborious process in which each frame is taken hand by hand, one by one, and then it's painted and then sketched so that we get that in between a photograph and a comic book vibe that we spend so much time carefully choosing for interrogation. What is your favorite character, Yana?
I have two actually. I like Diana because she was the first I made, and I kind of have this like comfort in drawing her because I drew her I think the most,
Mm-hmm.
and Lady Luck because she's so cool.
Yes. And Lady Luck is also one of my favorite. We will not show any kind of footage of her though. We don't want to spoil too much of the game. Um,
But she's badass.
yes, she is. Um, Before working for interrogation, did you usually do this kind of things?
No, I started as an illustrator. I also have like this history of being a huge anime fan, and I like fantasy drawings and paintings. Um, so no, this is actually the first game I ever worked on.
Okay.
And
Uh,
style as well, it was really new for me because we discovered it together, and I received feedback and we changed it together to fit the game. So it kind of surprised me how easy it became for me to work in this style after 2 years.
Mm-hmm. That's and so you say you didn't necessarily neither work in kind of black and white before this, right?
No.
And what was different about working in black and white, or in grayscale to be highly specific?
I think that when you have color, it's easier to express a certain feeling and to set a mood. But in black and white, your options are really limited. So you need to work with fewer. You have fewer options to express what you want.
Mm-hmm.
to create a more dramatic feeling.
Yeah. Noir, as uh, some of you may know, is a style that is derived a lot from kind of Renaissance chiaroscuro painting, in which they try to kind of attract attention to different parts of the painting through the use of high contrast for lighting. And
I didn't know that.
really, oh, okay. And then noir, film noir, kind of use this concept and try to apply it for cinematography. Uh, and then this translated into other kind of art forms like comic books and even video games. Um,
It's
okay.
really interesting as an artist that usually worked in color, and I did not expect it. That the work that I did for interrogation, the black and white work, actually informed my color work because I learned how to use light much better. Even if you wouldn't think that black and white can help you draw better in color, it did.
Okay. On actually, since you actually started giving advice on art, I'm really curious. How did you start off as an artist?
I was in art school since I was, I think, 8 years old or something, but I wasn't really passionate about it. It just happened. And at some point, I discovered anime, more specifically Inuyasha. And I wanted because I didn't have internet back then. It
Okay.
was 20 years ago or something,
Yep.
almost. I wanted to have the characters with me all the time, and since I didn't have internet, I was going to these internet cafes
Okay.
and looking at pictures with anime and trying to draw them so that I could have the characters with me back home.
Oh,
That's
that's
how
this.
it started actually.
Okay.
Then I went into more professional work, like I started painting, I went to college, I studied art, and then I started doing book illustration and advertising illustration. But it all started with anime.
Okay. Um, since you've worked in other kind of industries doing art, and this is your first kind of job in the video game industry, I was curious. Um, what were you most surprised of, or what's most different in as between working as an artist in the video game industry and in, like, for example, for book illustration?
I think the timeline is different because when you work for a game, you spend more time with the characters and more time doing the same type of work, which at times can become repetitive. But in the same way, it's really challenging to and comforting to work with in the same vibe, and also you can learn. I think it's more challenging as an art style, especially in the case of interrogation.
Okay.
Basically, I think that I learned more by working for video games than I did by working with book illustrations, for example.
Okay. Um, and for example, can you detail a bit what's the difference in the process in kind of video game art? Like what was your kind of, I don't know, weekly process in the past year and a half, 2 years, working for interrogation? How did you schedule your work?
For example, you asked about the difference. I think the biggest difference is also
Mhm.
also, working for video games is more of a teamwork. Um, you need to be in constant communication with the programmers to see if the artwork fits. Even if it looks good, it might not fit in game. So
Yep.
that was also surprising because I was used to working alone,
Mhm.
and now I was part of a team. And also, um, there were a lot of ideas bouncing back and forth. So that's why I think my art improved because I had constructive feedback from all of the team. Um,
Well, we're glad. Happy to help.
yeah, and I had like a character. I think I was finishing a character in a month, 2 weeks a month.
Yep, that's sound. I think more rather 2 weeks. There were only a few characters that have kind of more frames than usual. That took you a
Yeah, at
month.
first it was it took a longer time. Um,
For example, the character you're seeing here on screen has
Yeah, that was
a lot more frames than usual. We're not gonna spoil exactly why or who she is, but there were. Yana had quite a bit.
frames.
Sorry, what did you say?
She had like a lot of gestures, a lot of extra animations compared to other characters.
Yep. I think she has kind of like uh, 3 times more frames than a usual character. So that's why it took so long. Um, yeah. Now that kind of how was it when you finished drawing the last interrogation
Actually,
character?
it was pretty weird. I thought I would be happy, and yes, I was, but at the same time, I didn't know what to do with my life after I was so happy that I can see them all in game, but in the same time, I kind of missed the process.
Well, who knows? We may come back to it at a certain point in the future. Okay. So this was our special art behind the scenes. We talked a bit about where we let's say came from, and I can show you again the first trailer of Interrogation and how it all started. And we discussed a bit what was the process of iteration. Iteration is very important in video games, and it's the only way we can actually reach a good art style, and how we actually got to the art of interrogation as it is today, and how the whole kind of process looked like. This was it for the night. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find this video also later on YouTube. And yeah, Anna, thank you for joining us on this stream.
Thank you.
And yeah, next week we will have our last dev stream of 2019. We're gonna discuss a bit the process of writing and game designing, and in that stream we'll be having at the center the writing team of Interrogation. Hope you tune in for that one as well. It was a game that for which we wrote hundreds of thousands of words. It's a game with a super complex conversational system. It was a great kind of It was difficult for us to learn how to write it. It was a great challenge, but we learned a lot for it. Tune in next week for this. And thank you for watching today. Cool. Bye bye.
Bye.
See ya.